Hello and welcome everyone to the final race of the RWC Series, race number 10, the championship race. This is what the entire series comes down to. Now, if you obviously look at the screen, we're going to refer back to the most updated points as of the last race at High Speed Ring in Japan. If you did not watch the last race, your victor was Bowers with Team Lamborghini. Isidro and Rice made up the rest of your podium in second and third position. So they did get much needed points that race. However, unfortunately for Team Lamborghini, it was not enough. Again, if you look at the points, Team Aston Martin driver for that team, Mystics, with 62 points, absolutely just walked away the second half of this season in terms of points. And Rice with Team Toyota with his third place podium at High Speed Ring just barely kept him in contention for this championship race, but it will not be easy. If anything, it will be far from, as Rice will need an absolute perfect race. He will need to win and get the fastest lap just to give himself some insurance. If he does succeed in doing so, that will put him at 66 points. That's only a 5-point difference between him. No, excuse me, 4 point. That's only a 4-point difference between him and where Aston Martin is at right now with 62. So Toyota would need Aston Martin to finish in 8th place or lower to not tie them for the championship. That's for Toyota to win. They need Aston Martin to finish in 8th place or lower. So it's going to be definitely interesting. We're going to see what happens. Unfortunately, there's no other drivers in contention. Lamborghini, even if they have a perfect race, they will fall 1 point short of victory. So this race is solely between Aston Martin and Toyota. And we're going to jump right into this race. McGowan qualifying P1, Vakonen P2, Mystics in P3. He did qualify very well for this race. So already right off the back, a very scary situation for Team Toyota, as Team Toyota unfortunately did not qualify as high. So as I mentioned, Mystics in third, Dabrowski fourth, Project G will close out the top 5, Kudos in 6th, Davi 7th, White's Garage 8th, Camacho 9th, Violet Dragon will close out the top 10 going into lap 1 of this race as the rest of the field goes by there. Rice, as I mentioned, didn't even qualify in the top 10 for this race. So already very frightening situation for Team Toyota, as Rice was not able to really get a good footing on this track. And I will say in advance, I will apologize in advance. Obviously, this being the championship race, I'm going to be talking about Rice and Mystics the majority of this race, considering that they're the only two drivers that really get anything out of this race. Every other driver, unfortunately, are kind of just racing for fun at this point, as everyone else has been kicked out of the championship running. So as we have the field going down through the S here, going to the back straight of this track, Saez will close out the field in P20. McGowan still in the lead. Position change. Mystics will now be in second. He is wasting no time trying to solidify his first championship title here in Australia. Vakonen in third, Dabrowski fourth, Project G still closing out the top 5. Dabrowski will make a move on Vakonen. He will take back his position. Or excuse me, no, he will take his position. My bad. What am I saying? Dabrowski now trying to catch up to Mystics. Try to give him some contention there. Oh, Rice with the fastest lap. That is something that he will need to possibly pass Mystics in terms of points. So we'll see if Rice can hold on to that fastest lap, as Dabrowski and Mystics continue to fight for second and third place. Dabrowski will finally secure it and will now make his way towards McGowan. We'll see if Dabrowski can take first place here on just lap 2 of 10, very, very early on in this race, and we're already having some pretty good competition in terms of position battles. It's just, it kind of is a shame that it will be in vain, as both of these drivers are knocked out of the championship running, but entertainment nonetheless, as these battles are indeed very entertaining to watch. Just listening to that transmission, those gear shifts, extremely beefy. Well, Dabrowski's gonna go for a move. He will take first place here on the back straight on lap 2. Very clean move by Dabrowski, Team Dodge. So McGowan will now fall back to second. Mystics still in third. Kudos Khalid now moved all the way up into fourth place. So kudos Khalid. Team BMW has definitely been busy here early on in this race. Vakonen will now close out your top 5. Wyatt's Garage moved up to 6th, Fairley in 7th place. Project G will fall all the way back to 7th. 8th. Davi in 9th. As the rest of the field goes by there. Saez move up a couple positions as we now have our first pit stops of the race. Lee, Bowers, and Violet Dragon going in for a pit stop here on lap 3. So they will now close out your field. Violet Dragon being in last place. Dabrowski starting to create a gap now between him and second place. Mystics trying to get away from McGowan, but McGowan will not let him. Kudos Khalid 4th. White's Garage now in 5th. Vakonen in 6th now. Fairley and Project G right behind him. Rice in 12th. He definitely needs to get his butt into the top 10 if he wants to even make Mystics sweat. So we'll see if he'll be able to. He does still have time, but he needs to get up the field ASAP. Dabrowski just absolutely flying through this track as he now has the fastest lap, so Rice is going to have to try and get that back somehow. Because as I mentioned, Team Toyota, to have the safest bet of victory, will need a perfect race, so that includes a fastest lap as well as winning. So definitely a lot of pressure on Team Toyota. That definitely should not go unnoted. Team Toyota probably has the highest amount of pressure they've ever had this season on top of them right now during this race. Dabrowski now going into the pits on lap 4, or what will be lap 4. Mystics will stay out, so he will take the lead here going into lap 4. This is quite literally best case scenario for Team Aston Martin, securing first place almost halfway through this race. McGowan will now go up into second. Kudos Khalid will now close out the podium in third place. Fairley will move up to fourth place. Vakonen will close out the top 5 yet again. Project G behind him in 6th. Rice now finally made his way into the top 10. He is currently in 7th, but he still has a long way to go. And Mystics actually has to fall back down for him to still have a chance as well. And there's Dabrowski, Wyatt's Garage, Camacho, Isidro being the ones pitting this time around. Bowers getting some free positions. Bowers being your third your third driver in terms of points. However, as mentioned, unfortunately, he was knocked out last race. He just barely missed out on points, which is such a shame. Very interesting moves there. Got double move almost on Violet Dragon. Wyatt's Garage gets around, but Lee does not, but he will get around. No, he does not again. Violet Dragon blocks him into the wall. Yikes. Some very, very heavy defensive driving from Violet Dragon. Very well done, though. Keeping Lee away and actually sending him into the wall. It's kind of crazy. Camacho closing out the field now. Mystic still with a major gap. We'll see if he will go into the pits because of that. And he will. Okay, so we're having our third group of pit stops now. So Mystic's going in. We'll see if McGowan will actually skip. So McGowan will take first place now. We'll take it back. Fairley going in, however. Kudos Khalid going in. Vakonin and Rice will stay out. So this is looking promising now. Halfway through the race. Rice is now in third position. And with Mystics being in the pits, we'll see how far back he falls. But there's such a huge gap between the front half and the second half of the field. So Mystics with Team Aston Martin actually might get lucky here. Dabrowski's catching up now. He passes all the cars in the pits. And Bowers passes now. Will he pass Mystics? Yes, he will. Whoa, I think I was... And Mystics rejoins the field in 6th place. So Aston Martin just barely beats their window by 2 positions. So good job by Team Aston Martin getting Mystics back on the track in time, I guess you can say, as Wyatt's Garage was right there. So Team Toyota still has some work to do. Rice needs to make his way to first position. And at this point, Team Toyota just needs to pray that Aston Martin falls back at least 2 positions into P8 for them to sneak the championship under Aston Martin's belt. But we shall see what happens with 5 laps to go. Cedro passing there in P18. Violet Dragon in 19th position, and Lee will close out the field now in 20th position as they come around. And it looks like now we're having our 4th group of pit stops now, as McGowan goes in, Vakonin goes in as well, Rice goes in a little too fast actually. He kind of goes off track there for a second. We'll see if Dabrowski will come in. And he will not. Dabrowski will stay out, so he will take the lead coming around this time, going into lap number 6. This is definitely not the play that Toyota should have done, in my opinion, as Bowers will come across now, and he will take 2nd place. Mystics in 3rd. Was that actually where he was? Oh no, okay. No, that is... that actually kind of spooked me for a second. But either way, Mystics is back in 3rd now. Wyatt's Garage 4th. McGowan closing out the top 5. Camacho 6th. Kudos Khalid 7th. Fairley 8th position, as Camacho will take 5th place actually from McGowan, so he will close out the top 5 now. So McGowan will fall back to 6th place. Kudos Khalid 8th now, as Fairley goes on the inside. Besnard in 9th. And then G's Doc will close out the top 10 in 10th position. No idea where Rice is. Rice all the way down in 17th position. Not sure what happened with Toyota on that pit stop, but that was an extremely slow pit stop for them, which is definitely not the norm. If anything, Toyota's actually been very good at having very fast pit stops so far this season. However, at the time that it matters most, that definitely was not a fast pit stop. But they still have 4 laps to go here, so we will see how they manage the rest of this race. Mystic's still in 3rd, White Garage still in 4th, so pretty much your top half of the field is currently unchanged. Fairly, however, looking to change that statistic as she is right on McGowan's tail. She's going for the pass, and she will get it. McGowan will let her have the position very easily, so he will fall back. However, it looks like he's trying to retaliate, but it did not look successful. Another group of pit stops here, Dabrowski and Bowers, and so Mystics, unchallenged, will get first place back on lap 7 of 10. Only 3 laps to go. 3 to 4 laps to go. Camacho will move up to 2nd. Fairley will now close out the podium in 3rd. McGowan in 4th. Kudos Khalid will close out the top 5. Besnard in 6th. G's Dogs in 7th. Project G in 8th. Davi 9th. Rice in 13th again. Obviously gaining a few positions due to the 2 drivers doing their pit stops, but he still has a ways to go. And Mystics being in first place, pretty much, if he stays in first place, it makes this entire race pointless for Toyota, because even if Toyota gets 2nd place, Mystics is going to win the championship. So I don't know. This is looking very done already. But we will see. You know, racing is racing, and things happen literally out of nowhere, so we shall see. But as it sits right now on lap 7 of 10, this race is already sealed, and you are possibly looking at your first RWC champion as he goes through the S's there. Fairly in 2nd now, overtaking Camacho at some point. Kudos Khalid in 4th. McGowan still closing out the top 5 as the rest of the field goes there. Project G, Davi. Rice moving up a little bit more now in 11th position. So he is still working for it, but as I mentioned, it almost seems as if Toyota's going to need a miracle to steal this championship from Aston Martin. White's Garage in 18th position there, followed by Violet Dragon not too far behind, and Lee still closing out the field in 20th position. As we make our way back to the top, Mystic still going around. He will now pass the line for the 8th time. Lap 8 of 10 now. We are now what I would consider the home stretch of this race. Fairly in 2nd. Kudos Khalid will actually move up 1 due to Camacho going into the pits this time around. Besnard in 4th. McGowan still closing out the top 5, however. G's Doc in 6th. Rice now having moved his way into the top 10, now in 7th position. Dumont in 8th. Vakonen in 9th. Saez will close out the top 10 in 10th. Dabrowski 11th. Haley 12th. Bowers 13th position. And there is Camacho now exiting the pits. Project G, Davi, Isidro will now close out the field in 20th position as Lee just passed them along the straight. As we make our way back to the top, Mystics just absolutely dominating with a pretty decent sized gap between him and Fairley in 2nd place. Another gap between Fairley and Besnard. Kudos Khalid kind of closing the gap between him and Besnard. McGowan kind of alone in 5th. G's-Dot coming under attack by Rice for 6th position. We'll see if he can get it. G's-Dot closes the door and shoves him into the wall. A little bit of contact between the two as they're going into these S's. Rice not giving up though. He's still trying to take over that position. As I mentioned, Rice needs to get to the top. There is no exception if he is trying to compete against Aston Martin. As the rest of the field comes by here, mostly unchanged aside from the pit stops. Camacho, Wyatt's Garage, 14th, 15th. Project G right behind them. Davi, whole train of cars basically pretty close together actually, but no battles going on necessarily yet. Mystics finally going into the pits on lap 8 of 10. This is most likely going to be his last pit stop. Fairleigh, Besnard follows suit. Kudos Khalid as well. McGowan and Rice will skip, however, so McGowan will retake the lead for the first time since the beginning of this race. However, Rice going for a move. Going into turn 1, he will take the lead. That's exactly what he needs. Well, losing traction is not what he needs, but he will hold on. So Rice takes first place. This is exactly what him and Toyota need. Now it's just a matter of Mystics. Aston Martin yet again gets him out on the track in the nick of time. He comes back out on track in 5th place. Toyota needs him in 8th or lower. This is not good for Team Toyota with just 2 laps to go. There are a few cars catching up to Mystics, but will they pass them is the million-dollar question. Another issue for Team Toyota is McGowan actually takes first place back. So Rice will fall back into 2nd. He also doesn't have the fastest lap, so even if he does win, the points are going to be very close. Speaking of close, this little drag race between Isidro and Haley. Isidro will secure it though for 17th position. Haley now in 19, Violet, Dragon, and Lee will still close out your field, unfortunately. But heading back to the top, McGowan, as I mentioned, actually took back P1 at some point. Rice actually falling behind. There's a pretty big gap between the two, which is not good. Rice definitely needs to catch up. Dabrowski in 3rd, Saez in 4th. Mystics still closing out the top 5, which again is not where Toyota needs him. If Mystics manages to stay anywhere within that top 5, this championship is his. No question about it. And Mystics does not appear to have anyone around him. So, again, definitely not a prime scenario for Team Toyota. 3-car battle going on here, though, for 6th, 7th, and 8th position between Lamborghini, McLaren, and Audi. Pretty good battle going on here, it seems. Dabrowski will enter the pits, so Mystics is actually going to get a free position. Are you kidding me? Wyatt's Garage closing out the top 10. The rest of the field goes on here. And I actually just realized we're going to be going on to the final lap here. This is it. As we make our way back to the top here momentarily, it is lap 10 of 10. Final lap. McGowan still in the lead. Rice trying to catch up to McGowan, but not sure if he will. And even if he does, Mystics is now in 3rd place. This is, I don't know, folks. I think it's pretty safe to say that this race is more than likely over for Team Toyota, as Mystics is in 3rd. Rice actually spins out and hits the wall. Are you kidding me? What even happened to cause him to spin out? And here comes Mystics right behind him. Rice still has a penalty he needs to serve, so Mystics is literally on Rice's bumper. probably pushing him even more now that he sees his competitor behind him. Actually, he does get a really good gap, but he hits that car is done. That car is done as he just grinds against the wall to a halt. That will seal the fate of Team Toyota for this season. Aston Martin will take the championship, the first championship of the RWC series, excuse me. So major congratulations to Mystics and Team Aston Martin for their victory here, their victory this season. They are now your first RWC champion. Huge upset for Team Toyota. Team Toyota, ever since like race 5 of this season, has just had nothing but hardships. A couple crashes here across a couple races, and even then they were still able to at least contend with Aston Martin. So you do have to give Team Toyota an ounce of respect for that. McGowan will actually take the win here at Panorama. Unfortunately, it will not matter, but a win is a win. That will go on his record. Bowers will take second. Mystics will actually finish on the podium as well as taking the championship here. Besnard 4th. Vakonen will close out top 5. Fairley 6th. Dabrowski 7th. Kudus Khalid Camacho 8th and 9th. Project G will actually close out the top 10. And then everyone else will follow suit in their respective positions. What a season this has been. I hope you all have enjoyed it as much as I have commentating over it. I hope y'all enjoyed the series. If y'all did, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That way you guys don't miss the second season. We are planning on having a second season. This is not the end, so we will see if Toyota can maybe come back and take the championship next time, as Rice crosses the line there in 20th position. Unfortunately, we will not have updated points for this race, considering that it's the championship race. Mystics with Team Aston Martin is your champion. We will, however, release driver stats from this season at a slightly later date. It will probably be just a few days as we put all the stats and finishes together, in which case we'll probably release the points along with that. That way it's all one video that pretty much just sums up the season, how many wins certain drivers got, top 10 finishes, that kind of stuff. So we'll post that on a slightly later date. But yeah, once again, congratulations to Aston Martin. Good job to all the rest of the drivers. Even if they didn't win this season, they'll have another shot next season. So don't stop watching, and we hope to see you all next season, where hopefully things are different. So with all that being said, have a good one.